Welcome back, everyone, and thank you all for tuning in. Today, we're going to be continuing with the second video in our series talking about Black home ownership and the history of Black home ownership. Today's video specifically, we're going to be talking about funding and financing homes as an African American. Today's video was preceded by another video where I talked to you guys and let you all know I am a Black realtor here in the state of Florida, and I was basically giving information about how the real estate world is at times, and how it's progressed throughout the years, and how currently we have the largest gap in Black and white home ownership since 1960, at a 29% gap in home ownership for African Americans compared to Caucasians in the year of 2022. In that video, I was going over the basis and explaining on a surface level different concepts that we're going to be talking about throughout this month. And as Black History Month, I felt like this month was the perfect time and suited to give you guys some concepts and information on Black homeownership and just break down some statistics and facts. So let's get started. The first one and the most alarming fact that I'm bringing to you guys today in today's video about funding homes as a African American is credit. So roughly 25% of African Americans do not have a credit score at all. I've seen different statistics on this ranging from 15 to 33%, just to be transparent, but is definitely much different in the comparison that I've seen with Caucasian counterparts at 8%. So you're looking at anywhere between a 7 and 25% difference in Blacks with a credit score versus without, which in today's market makes it extremely difficult to finance a home, if not impossible in many cases, especially using traditional financing. Now, following up to with that, roughly 54% of Blacks have a credit score under 640 or no credit score at all. So that includes that same 25%. So more than half of Black Americans have a credit score that is deemed poor by FICO, which makes it extremely hard to get financing. With that being stated, the comparable position for Caucasians statistic is 37%. So 54% of Blacks, poor credit, 37% of whites. So looking at these numbers, this is just kind of helping outline the after they got rid of redlining in order to make lending become a more equitable practice, so it was stated. So now when we look a little bit further into this, and this is something that I experienced myself. As Black Americans, many of us do not know much about the credit system when we're growing up throughout life. A lot of the times our parents or grandparents had rough experiences with it, so they all out avoid it, or they were never offered opportunities to credit, because remember growing up during segregation and sometimes during slavery for great grandparents or grandparents, we're looking at people who were not able to walk into banks and sit down and get loans and things of that nature. And so that led on to us a lot of the times not passing down the knowledge, or them just saying, avoided for the ones who did get loans and got high interest rates and things of that nature. So with that being said, 30% of Black Americans reported that they were misinformed or tricked during their first experience with credit. 27% of Hispanics versus only 18% for whites and 15% for Asians, meaning that nearly twice as many African Americans felt as though they were misinformed or tricked about what they were getting into. So if you don't understand interest rates or installment payments or any of these things, and then you later on find out the truth, maybe you find out, like for myself, I was given a subprime auto loan with a 740 credit score, I believe I had at the time, paying a 15% interest rate on my first auto loan. Extremely misinformed, did not know what I had gotten myself into. And then once you get into a situation like that, it's extremely hard to get out in a lot of situations. Now, to move further, now remember, we stated that 54% of blacks said, well, just slightly over half said that report a credit score that is under 640. Out of that, 28% say that they cannot rent apartments in neighborhoods that they want, favorable places, as well as 22% say that they have been denied cell phone plans. So, installments on cell phones or certain contracts because of it. Now, once again, going a little bit further into this, when we talk about credit scores, we're talking about a system that supposedly sees no color. It's an algorithm. It sees no race or anything like that. Well, when we look at this, the average credit score is based upon race. A 745 for Asians, a 734 for whites, a 701 for Hispanics, and a whopping 677 for Black Americans. So we're seeing grossly disproportionate figures. And as we're looking towards minority groups, we're seeing these lower scores. And this can be, like I said, attributed to a lot of different things. One of the major things that I see with this when I'm working with African Americans, I was doing credit repair for a couple years, medical bills, cell phones, internet bills, different small credit cards, $300, $400, $500, things of that nature are things that I see that hold down credit scores, and they hold them down and reflect this for 8 years, even if you settle them or pay them off, if you don't know to settle or pay to delete. Now, the next thing is, even when you settle or pay to delete, sometimes the banks will, or the collection companies will know that they can get over with not actually deleting it, and they will still leave it on your profile even after you've paid them, and it still reflects that derogatory mark for another 8 years because it updates the account once you pay it. And to continue on further, remember I stated that, during those Jim Crow times, segregation, all that, many blacks could not go into banks and get lending, or had trouble with going into banks, getting their money out, things like that. So a whopping 14% of black households don't even have a bank account. So not just these people don't have a credit card or don't have credit, but they also don't even have a bank account. So they're completely, out for any loan that requires documents or proof of income or anything like that. I see it a lot of the times too with younger people. They'll go and get prepaid cards or things of that nature and not get an actual bank account. And then, they'll get physical paychecks from their job and just go and cash them at a check cashing store, so they never have any paper trail to really prove any income. Now, how does that compare to the white counterparts? This compares with a whopping 2.5% of Caucasian homes that are in this same bracket. Now, last but not least, I have a few little quick facts I want to throw in here. But basically, when it comes to credit and funding and loans, it's been found that with comparable profiles, a African American is 80% more likely to get denied with a comparable credit profile to the same white counterpart who was approved. It's found that fewer black applicants are getting approved compared to white applicants, even when they are high earners. However, there are less high income African American applicants because there are less high income African Americans. The high income bracket was determined in this case off of a 6-figure salary, so meaning $100,000 or more. When approved with a higher income, African Americans with higher salaries, meaning $100,000 or more, were also given high interest in subprime loans more often than their white counterparts, just as well as low income African Americans were deemed to have, too high of a debt to income ratio or an unfavorable profile compared to their white counterparts. So with that being said, as always, thank you all for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this video out with someone else who you know it could benefit. If you're out there and you're watching this video and you're on the other side and you're saying, what can I do? I don't have a bank account. Just go open a bank account. If you're saying, I don't know what to do, I don't have credit, get a secured card, get a secured loan. Check out some different products that you can utilize to offer yourself a better opportunity. As always, thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.